On today's show, NBA 2K26, the video game, predicts the Sacramento Kings season. How many games will they win? Where will they finish in the West? Will they make the playoffs or will they make some major crazy trades? It's all right here for you on Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all off season long. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News, and I'm also a major gamer. I love NBA 2K. I love a number of different video games. Doesn't mean I'm very good at them, but I've been a gamer my entire life. And when in doubt, especially in the middle of the most dead part of the offseason, why not use gaming to your advantage on the podcast? So that's what I'm going to do. We've made it to September, everybody. Officially the worst month of the NBA calendar. August is done. September means things kind of sort of start to heat up. We'll probably get some more movement and things might heat back up with certain player extensions like Jonathan Kuminga and the qualifying offer situation and all that. So I'm excited to be in September, but I thought let's start our September content with something that's a bit fun, a bit different. Now, this might not be for you. You might not, I don't care about this. I don't care about predictions. I want to hear about the Sacramento Kings. I encourage you to just give this a try and have some fun with it. And audio listeners, I will do my absolute best to articulate everything. Video watchers, you're going to see screenshots from my simulation from NBA 2K with stats and to support some of the things that I want to talk about. This simulation was crazy. It was crazy. All I did was put the league together with the rosters as is, including current injuries, and made it so that the computer could do whatever it wanted. I had no power. I had no control. I just was going to watch everything play out and write down what happens. But if you stick around to the end of the podcast too, I did do a little bonus simulation of what it would look like, what the season would look like if Russell Westbrook and Jonathan Kuminga were on the Kings. So you can stick around for that too. But as of right now, they're not on the Kings. So I did the full season prediction from NBA 2K of how this season is going to go. According to 2K, that is, with the Kings' current roster. So let's dive into this simulation right away. There were some last-minute offseason moves made, and those included Jonathan Kuminga signing the qualifying offer with the Golden State Warriors and Russell Westbrook signing to the Houston Rockets. So in this simulation, the Kings did not land either of those two. This was a apparent farewell tour season for LeBron James. NBA 2K notified me that this would be LeBron's last season, and he was letting every team know that this was his last season so that he could do a farewell tour around the league. So that's kind of a fun note to keep in mind. But now let's jump into what the simulation was for the Sacramento Kings, and we'll start with opening night. The Kings taking on the Phoenix Suns. And again, audio listeners, I apologize. If you come over to the video side on YouTube, you can see the stats and numbers that I'm going to be referencing here. But here is opening night. The Kings taking on the Suns in Phoenix. Sacramento victorious on opening night, winning 113-108, led by DeMar DeRozan's 25.4 assist, 1 steal performance on 9 of 14 shooting. There you see Zach LaVine with 18 points. Dennis Schroeder in his Kings debut, 15 points, 8 assists, 5 of 14 from the field. Malik Monk and Domantas Sabonis also getting in the teens in points, 14 points and a 12 rebound double-double for Sabonis. Something to keep an eye on right now that is going to be a theme throughout the entire season. You see down there, Neat Clifford, DNP, does not play. According to NBA 2K, Neat Clifford is not good enough to crack the Sacramento Kings rotation right now. I do not believe that would be the case. You'll also see Devin Carter with a DNP down there, and you won't even see Maxime Reynaud on your screen. That's because he's pretty much going to spend a lot of time bouncing between the NBA and the G League. So that was opening night. Then you move on to the Kings home opener, and I'll do this one really quickly. The Kings opened their season at home against the Utah Jazz. It's game 2, and the Kings obliterated the Jazz in this game, 137-91. Sabonis had a 22-point, 20 rebound, 14 assist triple double. Excuse me. We're not going to go through every single game or anything like that. I just wanted to do the season opener and the home opener. Now we fast forward to the end of the NBA Cup group stage, and the Sacramento Kings finished second in their group, according to NBA 2K. Oklahoma City won the group. No surprise there, going 3-1. The Kings lost their first 2 group stage games to the Thunder and the Timberwolves, but then beat the Suns and Utah Jazz so badly that their point differential was not just the second best in the group, their point differential was one of the best in the entire tournament. So that means that the Sacramento Kings actually advanced to the knockout round, or to the next round, where they faced the Thunder again, and it didn't go well. The Kings lost to the Thunder in the first knockout round game of the play-in turn, or NBA Cup, excuse me. The final score in that game, 145-131. So not a lick of defense being played in that game. You can see Zach LaVine led the Kings in scoring with 25 points and 8 assists. 3 players in reaching 20 points for the Kings. Malik also scored 21, and Sabonis had a 20-point, 12 rebound double in that game. SGA, by the way, he scored 51 points. So yeah, the MVP, making sure that the Thunder were going to make it through, and that was pretty much to be expected, because SGA and the Thunder ended up winning the NBA Cup. They defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Cup final, 146-99. SGA was named the MVP of the NBA Cup. So the defending NBA champions immediately win the NBA Cup, according to 2K26. At this point, though, after being eliminated in the NBA Cup, the Sacramento Kings started the season with a 16-9 record. Pretty darn good. And they were 5th in the West at this point. So 2K predicts that the Kings are going to get off to a pretty strong start to the season. And by the end of 2026, by the end of 2025, January 1st of 2026, the Kings were 21-12, 4th place in the West. So again, NBA 2K likes this Kings roster. Apparently thinks they're going to get off to a really strong start. Fast forwarding to one of the marquee games this season, which is Mike Brown's return to Sacramento, and it was ugly for the Sacramento Kings. The Knicks demolished the Kings 117-80. Now, it's important to note, at this time in this game, DeMar DeRozan, Keon Ellis, and Keegan Murray are all out with some minor injuries. Nothing crazy, but those 3 did not play in this game, and the Kings only scored 80 points. Mike Brown gets some revenge in his return to Sacramento. And this I could see, maybe minus the injuries, this I could see 100% happening for Mike Brown's return to Sacramento this season. Now we fast forward all the way to the trade deadline. And the Kings at the trade deadline have a 31-21 record, which is 5th in the Western Conference. So they are firmly in the playoff picture. Does that mean that 2K AI Scott Perry is going to make some trades to go for it? I certainly don't think he's going to be a seller. Well, this I was a little disappointed to see. It was a really boring trade deadline, not just for the Sacramento Kings, who didn't make any moves. There were a grand total of 2 trades made around the NBA in this NBA 2K26 simulation. So just like how boring this offseason was, I guess NBA 2K predicts that the trade deadline is going to be boring too. However, those trades were interesting, especially if you call yourself a supporter of the Detroit Pistons. You can see there Detroit traded Tobias Harris and Duncan Robinson to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George and Kyle Lowry. So a win now move for the Detroit Pistons. They also traded for Steven Adams with the Houston Rockets. At this time, The Pistons were 28 and 22, fifth place in the East. So the team that's fifth in the East, the Pistons making moves to try and make a push. The Kings being fifth in the West, they ultimately decide to stay put. Now we fast forward to the All-Star break. And at the time of the All-Star break, the Sacramento Kings were 32 and 24, still holding strong to that fifth place spot. But as you can see, their record's getting a little bit worse. They're losing more games than they're winning at this point. Again, they've been battling some minor injuries. So let's look at the All-Star selections. Do the Sacramento Kings have an All-Star? The answer is yes, they do. Domantas Sabonis is named to the All-Star Western Conference team at this time. He was averaging 17 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal per game. His shooting splits, shooting 58% from the field, 42% from three-point range, and 72% from the free throw line. So NBA 2K predicts that Domantas Sabonis will be an all-star this season. We'll have some pretty incredible scoring numbers there. NBA 2K26 also predicts that Anthony Edwards is going to dominate All-Star Weekend. Ant Edwards wins the three-point contest and the dunk contest on the same night. Ant-Man goes back-to-back and wins both of those competitions. I thought that was pretty funny. Now we get into kind of the weeds here, because after the All-Star break, we're getting close to the period of time where the Kings can offer both Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray contract extensions. Well, this screen that I'm putting up here is going to be a little bit convoluted. In NBA 2K, they have their social media panel where you can see, like, they're simulated like, oh, here are rumors and things like that are going on. The one that's red, that's highlighted, you can see an account by the name of Mark Titus says, I'm hearing that that Kings Keon Ellis is determined to test his value in free agency this offseason. So Keon Ellis in this NBA 2K simulation decides not to re-sign with the Sacramento Kings. As for Keegan Murray, he's been battling multiple injuries in this simulation, has missed a bit of time, a couple of times with different injuries. Keon Ellis doesn't even get an extension offer from the Sacramento Kings. But when hovering over you can go hover over the player in 2K and see like what their thoughts and how they're feeling about everything. According to NBA 2K, Keegan Murray did not want a contract extension with the Sacramento Kings at this time. So NBA 2K, not too positive about the future of Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray in Sacramento. No deals get done. Fast forwarding to another marquee game that I know Kings fans have their eye on. It's De'Aaron Fox's return to Sacramento on March 17th, the one time Fox plays in Sacramento next season. And he leads the San Antonio Spurs to a 134-123 victory over the Kings in a game where Fox scored 27 points, also had 10 assists. Victor Wembanyama right behind him with 26 points. We are going to break here because when we come back after this break, I will have the remainder of the season, the Kings' final record, where they finished in the West, and dare I say playoffs. Plus, we'll see who NBA 2K26 predicts is going to be the NBA champion this year, plus the NBA awards. That's all still coming for you in just a second. Before that, though, want to let you know that today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch Money comes into play. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface. It's on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives, so probably all of us. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does all the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off of your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. Okay, let's return to our NBA 2K26 simulation of the Sacramento Kings season. And we just wrapped up the Kings' final marquee game that I looked at, which was the Kings hosting the San Antonio Spurs and De'Aaron Fox's return to Sacramento. From this point on, I simulated the rest of the season. Take me through game 82. Let's see what the final record for the Sacramento Kings will be. Drum roll, please. The Kings end the season. NBA 2K26 predicts that the Kings will have a 47 win, 35 loss record, which is seventh in the West. 12 games above 500, and you are a play-in team in the Western Conference, according to NBA 2K. I don't know if anybody thought that the Kings would win 47 games. I certainly didn't in this simulation. I actually did a giveaway or a contest yesterday on Twitter where I asked for people to predict what the Kings record would be in this simulation, and whoever got that right, plus if they could predict where the Kings would finish in the West and who would win the NBA championship. If anybody got all three of those right, I would get them a copy of NBA 2K26. Well, forget the other two things because nobody even got the Kings winning 47 games. So sorry to everybody who participated in the contest, but nobody is going to get the win. But a 47-35 record for the Kings. According to NBA 2K26, that ends up in the 7th spot, which is the top play-in spot, which means the Kings will play the New Orleans Pelicans, who finished 8th in the West in the first play-in game. We'll get to that in a little bit. As you can see there, the Minnesota Timberwolves win the West 60-22 overall. The Dallas Mavericks in the first year of Cooper Flagg go 58-24 for second in the West. You can see there the Houston Rockets finished 4th, 51-31. The Spurs finished one spot ahead of the Kings. 49-33 is their record. They get the 6th and final guaranteed playoff spot. You will also notice that the Golden State Warriors, not in the picture. That includes the play-in picture. The Golden State Warriors do not make the play-in, nor do, I believe, the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think the Lakers made the play-in either on this simulation. Can't see there on the screen. So we now go to the awards, the regular season awards. And for the second straight year, the NBA MVP is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And here's why. He averaged 36 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals on 59% shooting from the field, 45% shooting from three-point range, and 88% shooting from the free throw line. Dear Lord, SGA had a monster season, according to NBA 2K26. The rookie of the year, no surprise, Cooper Flagg with his 16.5 points per game, also averaged just shy of 6 rebounds, just over 3 assists and a steal, shot 47% from the field in his rookie season with the Dallas Mavericks. Check this out, Kings fans. Your 6th man of the year, Malik Monk. Finally, Malik wins 6th man of the year, according to NBA 2K26. If the Kings hold on to him, 2K thinks that'll be a good thing because Malik averaged 20.9 points and 4.6 assists off the bench, including 52% shooting from the field and 42% from three-point range. Malik Monk finally gets his 6th man of the year award. And hilariously, ladies and gentlemen, in his first season as the head coach of the New York Knicks, Mike Brown is your coach of the year. Remember, Mike Brown won the coach of the year for the Sacramento Kings in his first season with the Sacramento Kings. I laughed so hard when I saw this part of the simulation. Other awards, Victor Wembanyama won the Defensive Player of the Year award, and Zaire Williams from the Brooklyn Nets won the Most Improved Player award, and James Harden was the Clutch Player of the Year. In terms of all NBA teams, the first all NBA team was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic, and Trae Young. Trae Young made the All-NBA first team, had a monster year for the Atlanta Hawks. And on the second team, Domantas Sabonis makes the All-NBA second team alongside Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, James Harden, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. The All-NBA third team was LeBron James, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Jamal Murray, and Ja Morant. No De'Aaron Fox on any of the All NBA teams. So let's take a look at the player stats for the regular season. Zach LaVine, according to NBA 2K, will lead the Kings in scoring this season, 22 points per game on 56% shooting from the field. Malik Monk, this is why he won Sixth Man of the Year, the second leading scorer on the Kings, averaging just shy of 21 points per game. Domantas Sabonis averaged 18 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists per game, plus a steal. DeMar DeRozan, a down year for DeRozan, averaging just 17 points per game. As you can see there, though, he played in 63 games, was injured a lot, as was Keegan Murray, who played in just 47 games, averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds per game. Dennis Schroeder, in his first season as a King, averaged 12 points and 7 assists per game. And if we're scrolling down to the bottom of the averages here, you can see Devin Carter only played in 46 games, averaged 4 points in those 46 games. Nick Clifford only played in 6 games and didn't even average a point per game. Maxime Reynaud only played in 6 games as well. So again, NBA 2K doesn't think that the rookies on the Kings are going to play too much this upcoming season. Keon Ellis played in 74 games, only averaged 5 points per game, did average 1.5 steals. So those are the season stats for the Sacramento Kings. How NBA 2K26 predicts the numbers are going to be for the Kings for the regular season. But now we get to the postseason and the play-in game. Game 1 of the play-in between the Kings and the Pelicans in Sacramento. Remember, the Kings were embarrassed in Sacramento by the Dallas Mavericks in the play-in game last season in real life. And in the Kings' first play-in game in Sacramento, they lost. A nail-biter, a 1-point game that actually went into overtime. Zion and the Pelicans defeat the Sacramento Kings 127-126. Zach LaVine scored 29 points in that game. DeMar DeRozan scored 20, but the Kings lose with home court advantage, so they do not secure the 7th seed. But the good news is they get one more shot at it. They get a shot to take on the Phoenix Suns in their play-in game with their last chance to make it to the play-in, to sneak or playoffs, to sneak in as the 8th seed. I'll tell you how that game goes. Plus, we'll talk about the rest of the playoffs, and plus, what does the season look like with Jonathan Kuminga and Russell Westbrook on the roster? That's all still coming here on this Locked On Kings NBA 2K26 simulation. Before that, though, I want to remind you that Locked On Kings is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here. It starts Thursday, just a couple of days, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Using FanDuel is so much fun, right? It makes every Sunday, every Thursday, every Monday must watch. And if you're already watching the game because you're just a sports glutton and an NFL fan like me, even if your favorite team isn't playing, sometimes it can be a little hard to be invested. Well, FanDuel can help make sure you are invested. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup or trying to win some big bucks here on FanDuel. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Super Bowl or football Sundays. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, let's take this puppy home. The Sacramento Kings lose to the New Orleans Pelicans in the first play-in game at home in overtime, which means they have to beat the Phoenix Suns or their season is over. If they beat the Phoenix Suns, though, one game in Sacramento, they advance to the postseason. They actually make it to the playoffs, and they do. The Kings defeat the Suns 116-100, led by a 29-point performance from Zach LaVine. Malik Monk, huge again, 27 points for Malik. Domantas Sabonis, a 23-point, 15 rebound, 10 assist, triple-double. The Kings are going to the playoffs, according to NBA 2K26. We get real, legitimate postseason basketball. Not just a play-in, we get legit postseason basketball in Sacramento, which is very exciting. The problem is, though, the Kings are the 8th seed, which means they got to take on the number 1 seed, which was the Minnesota Timberwolves. So the Kings pack their bags. They head to Minnesota for game 1 against the Timberwolves, and they win it. The Kings don't just win it. They stomp the Timberwolves 128-101 in game 1 of the opening round in the West. Domantas Sabonis, 36 points, 20 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals. He finally has that breakout playoff performance to silence the doubters. And then once again, Malik Monk. This man is incredible. 31 points. Now, what do you notice when looking at this? A bit of bad news. What do you notice? Look at those names. What name is not there? Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is not there because right before the season ended, in game 82, Dennis Schroeder, actually, I'm sorry, in the play-in game, not even game 82, it was in the second play-in game, Dennis Schroeder broke his leg. So the Kings have no starting point guard. I guess Malik Monk is the starting point guard. Well, he did pretty darn good in game 1, but unfortunately, the injuries get worse. The Kings lose Zach LaVine to an ankle sprain in game 2. And he's done for the rest of the round. As fun as game 1 was, the Kings lose the next 4 games. Badly. Badly. They lost game 2, 120-85. Game 3 in Sacramento, they get obliterated 131-74. Game 4 in Sacramento, they lose 119-103. And then the Kings are eliminated in game 5. A hard-fought battle. They go out fighting 115-113. So the Kings, their playoffs come to an end. They lose in the first round again in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Here are the playoff stats. Malik Monk had the best scoring averages for the Kings in the playoffs there, even dealing with some back spasms you can see up there. 22 points per game. Domantas Sabonis averaging 20 points and 12 rebounds and just shy of 8 assists per game. In the playoffs, DeMar DeRozan averaging 20 points. So his scoring averages went up by 3 from the regular season to the playoffs. So DeMar stepping up. And then you can see Zach LaVine played just 1 game and then he got hurt. So pretty tough for the Kings to lose LaVine there. So the Kings are out. The playoffs are over. But the good news is the Kings lost to the champs. The Minnesota Timberwolves go all the way to the NBA Finals, where they defeat in 7 games Mike Brown's New York Knicks. The Knicks make it all the way to the finals, but lose in game 7 to the Timberwolves. Here you can see the full playoff picture. The Timberwolves, after beating the Kings in 5, beat the Rockets in 5, then beat the Clippers in 6. On the East, it was all New York. The Knicks running through Atlanta, then running through Boston. Boston upset the Cleveland Cavaliers as the 6th seed in the second round of the playoffs. But the Timberwolves beat the Knicks in 7 games to become NBA champions. That is how NBA 2K26 predicts next season will go. Not too shabby for the Sacramento Kings. Not too shabby at all, even though it ends poorly with a lot of injuries there at the end. But for funsies, I was like, okay, I'm going to do one more simulation. I'm going to put Russell Westbrook and Jonathan Kuminga on the Kings. In order to do this, I put Malik Monk and somebody else, can't remember who, on the Golden State Warriors. But the Kings don't have Malik Monk in this simulation. But they do have Jonathan Kuminga, and they do have Russell Westbrook. So, would it be better? Would it be worse? Well, it was a lot worse. The Kings drop from 47 wins to 38 wins. They go 38-44. This is a record I think most people thought the Kings are going to be around. They end up 11th in the West. So 1 spot out. In fact, 1 game out of the play-in picture. That's where the Kings finish in this simulation. For the season, Jonathan Kuminga, in his first season with the Kings, only starts in 17 games, mainly coming off the bench. Averaged 13 points, 4 rebounds, shot 53% from the field, 29% from 3-point range, 62% from the foul line. Yikes. And Russell Westbrook also, well, actually, he ended up starting 50 out of 82 games. Russell Westbrook averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal for the Sacramento Kings. So according to NBA 2K, the Kings should just leave their roster as is. Don't get Kuminga, don't get Russell Westbrook, and the Kings will flirt with 50 wins and make the playoffs, albeit through the play-in in a nail-biter, but they'll make the playoffs. That's how NBA 2K26 predicts that the Sacramento Kings season will go. Would you like that season? Would you hate that season? You let me know. And hopefully you enjoyed. Again, this is kind of silly content, different content. We will get back to the real world coming up in the next episode of Locked On Kings. I'm going to have Big Dave, which is one of my guys from Chicago, covers the Chicago Bulls for the CHGO Bulls podcast. We're going to talk more about Zach LaVine. And we're going to talk about how Zach earned that contract in Chicago, the misconceptions around Zach LaVine, if he can win, if he can't win. And we're just going to dive a little bit deeper into the conversation around Zach LaVine now that he will be in Sacramento for a full season, not just after the chaos of the NBA trade deadline. So we're getting back to the real world coming up next, but I hope you enjoyed this fun simulation from NBA 2K26 about how they predict the Kings season will go. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like the season, you don't like the season, if you do your own simulations on NBA 2K, hey, send them to me. Send the record and what 2K thinks in your world, how the Kings are going to finish, how they're going to do. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you did too. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode of Locked On Kings. Until then, my name is Matt George. You've been listening to the Locked On Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.